Go ahead, do it. Dead or alive, you're coming with me. Dead or alive, you are coming with me. For some to learn how not to lose the track of time is to learn how not to lose their money.
Alright folks, welcome back to the weekly video, and today I'm doing a review of Robocop Rogue City. Now this year has been a pretty incredible year for video games, and this game in particular I've been looking forward to for a long time. Now this one might actually slip under the radar for some folks because Teon's previous game, Terminator Resistance, was missed by a lot of people. It was rough around the edges, but fantastic fan service and a really enjoyable Fallout Light type of game in the Terminator universe, which I absolutely adored when it came out. The greatest thing about Terminator Resistance was the respect for the license it was using. So that gave me high hopes and real faith that Robocop could be a real successor to Robocop 1 and 2. Let's get into this review. So I'm going to break down this review into two scenarios, presentation and gameplay. So anybody who's a Robocop fan will be immediately blown away by the authenticity and design of the city itself. It actually felt to me like I was sitting in the very first movie, walking around as Robocop. Teon have clearly done their homework here, and it feels like they're actual fans making a game here. Huge respect to the source material. It genuinely feels like that grimy streets of Detroit that you get from Robocop 1 and 2. From all the designs of the buildings themselves, there's rubbish everywhere, there's open drug use, there's public urination, there's people fighting. It felt like I was in the movie. What's great too is the voice acting is very believable, and this is actually a step up from Terminator Resistance because some of the actors felt a little bit stiff in that, even if the dialogue was good. You're getting the best of both worlds here, and even Peter Weller does the voice of Robocop, and it's just perfection.
Hey, you can't go in yet. We need to wait for the reinforcements.
Reinforcements have arrived.
Guys, we've got company. Anyone expecting a silver freak?
Drop it, scum. Slime bags detected.
Just look at that, boys. The police dog and its bitch.
Not sure which one is which.
You're gonna take that back.
Honestly, it's just pure fan service, and that lets us roll into the gameplay. How does it feel to be Robocop? He's big, he's lumbered. It just feels great to play as Robocop. The gunplay, to me, is vastly improved from Terminator Resistance. It almost makes me feel like I'm playing a combination of the game Black, if anyone remembers that, where everything is destructible, but at the same time you get that visceral violence from the original Robocop movies. It's honestly probably some of the best gunplay in an FPS I've played all year. Everything feels like it's really weighty. The destructibility, the sound feedback, it's genuine fun to use every single weapon that you find, and most importantly Robocop's iconic pistol. It's so much fun to use, you can upgrade it. I never found myself tiring using that particular weapon, which I think is a really hard thing to get right, in particular for an FPS. Another word of warning here as well, this game is brutal. I mean brutal violence. You can blow off limbs, arms, the amount of blood and gore. But again, that leads back to the authenticity. Again, looking at the original Robocop 1 and 2, they're extremely violent films, so you get the exact same feeling playing the game. If I was to summarize the gunplay and action overall, I had a huge grin on my face every time I go and take out some bad guys. That should be a really good endorsement for a first-person shooter. Now, every time you complete a main mission, it evaluates your performance. You can get higher rankings based on how well you've done, and then you can use the gained experience to upgrade Robocop. I actually prefer the upgrade system in this over Terminator Resistance. It's vastly improved as well, because depending on which attribute you invest in, there are clear differences and some really cool enhancements that make a genuine difference to the action and actually enhance your abilities. So here's a breakdown of the mission structure. So the game works in little hub worlds, and the police station, so authentic by the the way to the movie, is the primary hub. And from here you can pick up primary and secondary objectives, and or you can travel to other zones like Detroit City streets or an abandoned warehouse as one example, and you can get other objectives in there. What I actually really like is the secondary objectives are just as much fun as the primary ones, and they lead to some really interesting dialogue.
I can deal with blood, guts, but puke is a no-go for me. Oh, be a sport and move his ass to the drunk tank for me. You got your special gloves and extra protection, so you shouldn't mind. Just take him downstairs. I owe you one, Murphy. Oh no, the smell is following you. I'm gonna be sick.
I don't remember getting on a roller coaster.
Look who's back home. Just toss him in one of the empty cells.
Finally home.
Sleep tight.
Every small and big objective the game throws at you, whether it's the primary or the secondary missions, they're all so interesting because of how well they're written. And again, authentic to the source material. I keep saying this, but when Robocop speaks, I genuinely believe that's what he would say from the movie, like some of the quirky little humor that you get from the movies. It's just genuinely well done. So as I mentioned, when you leave the station, you get to various hub worlds and you can pick and select your primary and secondary objectives, but you also get rewarded for exploring. And as I said previously, some of the greatest missions in this happen to be the secondary ones. There's a really cool investigation minigame, and you can use your RoboVision to search for evidence to aid your investigation. It's got really cool dialogue options, especially if you're interrogating suspects and stuff, and they seem to have genuine outcomes. It just feels like the choices you make have genuine impact to the outcomes of these little stories.
Who is he?
I can't tell you. If he knew I gave him away, he'd take revenge on Ben. Oh God, it must be those thugs. We're dead. No one is gonna save us.
If they are criminals, then they are the ones who need saving.
So let's do a wrap up here, my final thoughts. My final thoughts are, I love this game. Have a grin on my face every time I play it. It's such fan service, and if you're a Robocop fan, this is a fantastic game that does the license proud. And I'll tell you what, even if you're not a Robocop fan, this is a fantastic FPS RPG light in its own right. That's it for today's review, guys. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'm going back to massacre some slime bags. I love this game. Talk to you in the next video, guys.